What if you could add over a decade of vibrant, disease-free years to your life using a proven blueprint? I'm not talking about the latest Silicon Valley biohacking trend that costs a fortune. And I'm definitely not talking about some soul-crushing diet or an exercise routine that leaves you exhausted and broken. I'm talking about a simple, powerful, and scientifically proven plan from one of the most respected institutions on the planet, Harvard University. For decades, we've been drowning in conflicting health advice. One day, coffee is a superfood, the next it's poison. One expert tells you to eat only meat. Another says to avoid it at all costs. This confusion isn't just frustrating, it's dangerous. It leads to doing nothing, and doing nothing is a choice that can rob you of years, even decades, of healthy living. But what if we could cut through all that noise? What if we could look at the data from over 120,000 people, tracked for more than 30 years, to find the undeniable truth about living a long, healthy life? That's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to unpack the landmark Harvard study that identified 5 basic habits that, when done together, can add up to 14 years to your life. And these aren't just any years. These are years free from the chronic diseases that slow so many of us down. This is the definitive guide. Let's dig in. Before we get to the 5 habits, we need to talk about why this information is the gold standard. In health science, not all studies are created equal. A small, short-term study might create a splashy headline, but it rarely gives you the certainty needed for lifelong decisions. This is different. The study we're talking about, published in the top-tier medical journal called Circulation in 2018, is one of the most comprehensive ever done. Researchers at the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health didn't just poll a few dozen people. They analyzed an ocean of data. 34 years of information from nearly 79,000 women and 27 years from over 44,000 men. That's more than 123,000 people tracked for decades. This massive scale lets scientists see past fleeting trends and find the real, long-term drivers of health. The researchers wanted to answer one big question. How much does our lifestyle actually impact our lifespan? They focused on 5 specific, low-risk lifestyle factors. What they found was staggering. So what was the big takeaway? For a 50-year-old who follows none of these 5 habits, their life expectancy is about 29 more years for women and 25. 5 for men. But for a 50-year-old who has adopted all 5 habits, their life expectancy skyrockets. Women who kept up all 5 healthy habits gained, on average, 14 extra years of life. Men gained 12 years. Let that sink in. This isn't a small improvement. This is more than a decade of extra life. A decade more of sunrises, of holidays with family, of pursuing passions, of just being alive and well. And as we'll see, the quality of these years is the most important part. This isn't just about living longer. It's about living better for longer. Now, let's break down the 5 habits that make up this incredible blueprint for longevity. First up, the foundation of the Harvard blueprint, adopting a high-quality diet. Now, I know the word diet can be intimidating. It brings up images of deprivation and joyless meals. But the Harvard study's definition of a healthy diet is refreshingly simple and flexible. It's not a specific, named diet like keto or paleo. It's a set of principles. The researchers used a tool called the Alternate Healthy Eating Index to measure diet quality. A high score is what you're aiming for. So, what does that look like on your plate? It's a diet packed with whole, unprocessed foods. Think vibrant vegetables of all colors, fruits, nuts, whole grains, and healthy fats like you find in olive oil and avocados. It also means cutting way back on things we know are bad for us. Red and processed meats, sugary drinks, trans fats, and too much salt. The real power here is the focus on what to add, not just what to take away. Instead of obsessing over every bad food, you shift your focus to crowding your plate with nutrient-dense, life-giving foods. When you fill up on fiber-rich vegetables and satisfying whole grains, you naturally have less room and less desire for the processed junk. Why does this work so well? It's simple biology. A diet rich in plants floods your body with antioxidants, which fight the cell damage and inflammation that drive aging. The fiber feeds your gut microbiome, which we now know is a cornerstone of a healthy immune system, and even your mood. And by minimizing processed foods, You cut down on the inflammatory oils, refined sugars, and chemical additives that put your body under constant stress. This isn't about being perfect. The study looked for a high overall diet quality, not a flawless record. This is so empowering. It means a piece of birthday cake or a holiday dinner won't ruin everything. What matters is the foundation you build day in and day out. Start with one simple change. Add an extra serving of veggies to dinner. Swap that soda for water. Over time, these small choices build the powerful habit of a high-quality diet. The second habit is one we all know is important, yet so many of us struggle with it: regular physical activity. Just like with diet, the Harvard recommendation is surprisingly doable. You don't have to become a marathon runner. The goal was at least 30 minutes per day of moderate to vigorous activity. So, what does moderate actually mean? This is where people often overestimate the difficulty. Moderate activity includes things like a brisk walk, a casual bike ride, or even vigorous gardening or dancing. A simple rule of thumb: during moderate activity, you can still talk, but you couldn't easily sing a song. You feel your heart rate go up, you might break a light sweat, but you're not gasping for air. This is a game changer. You don't need a gym. You don't need fancy equipment. A pair of sneakers is enough to start. A 30-minute brisk walk on your lunch break or after dinner is all it takes to meet this fundamental requirement for a longer life. The science behind why exercise is so powerful is profound. Regular movement strengthens your heart, improves blood flow, and helps maintain healthy blood pressure. It makes your cells more sensitive to insulin, which is key for preventing type 2 diabetes. It also helps control the chronic inflammation that drives almost every disease of aging. On top of all that, exercise is one of the best things you can do for your brain, improving memory, focus, and even reducing the risk of dementia. The biggest hurdle for most people isn't ability, it's inertia. It's that I'm too tired or I don't have time feeling. But here's the paradox: exercise creates energy. A short walk can be more invigorating than a cup of coffee. And look, even if 30 minutes feels like a lot, research has shown that just adding 10 minutes of movement a day can significantly reduce mortality. Let the feeling of well-being that follows be your motivation. Consistency is so much more important than intensity. Build the habit, and the results will follow for decades. The third habit is maintaining a healthy body weight. The study defined this as a body mass index, or BMI, between 18.5 and 24.9. It's really important to approach this with the right mindset. This is not about looking a certain way or fitting into a certain size. This is purely about your metabolic health. Now, BMI can be a controversial metric, and it's true, it's not perfect for everyone. A bodybuilder might have a high BMI without being unhealthy. But for the vast majority of us, it's a pretty reliable and simple way to check if our weight is in a healthy range for our height. Being significantly outside that range, especially in the obese category, BMI of 30 puts a huge strain on your entire body. Excess body fat, particularly the fat around your internal organs, isn't just sitting there. It's metabolically active, pumping out inflammatory signals that disrupt how your body works. This chronic inflammation is a direct path to insulin resistance, type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and even certain cancers. The key to this habit is seeing it as a natural result of the first two. The goal isn't to hit a healthy BMI with some miserable crash diet. That approach almost always backfires. Instead, a healthy body weight is the logical outcome of consistently eating well and moving your body. When you fuel yourself with nutrient-dense foods, you feel fuller and are less likely to overeat empty calories. When you move regularly, you build muscle and burn energy. The weight management almost becomes a side effect. It's a process of nourishing and strengthening your body, not depriving it. If your weight is currently outside the healthy range, don't get discouraged. The study showed that every single positive habit you adopt lowers your risk of early death. Start with diet and exercise. As those habits stick, your body will naturally move in a healthier direction. The fourth habit is one that's often surrounded by confusing headlines: moderate alcohol consumption. The Harvard study was very clear about what moderate means. For women, it was up to 1 drink per day. For men, up to 2. And we have to be precise here. 1 drink is about 5 ounces of wine, 12 ounces of beer, or 1.5 ounces of liquor. That's often way smaller than what you'd get poured in a restaurant or even at home. For years, some research pointed to a J-curve effect, where moderate drinkers seem to have slightly better heart health than people who drank nothing at all. This study's findings were in line with that. However, and this is critical, the researchers are not telling non-drinkers to start drinking to get healthier. The main benefit comes from avoiding the severe health consequences of heavy drinking, which is a massive risk factor for liver disease, cancer, and heart and brain damage. So, the real lesson here is about limitation. If you don't drink, there's no compelling health reason to start, especially as more recent science suggests that no amount of alcohol is truly risk-free. If you do drink, sticking to that strict definition of moderation is essential for your long-term health. Going beyond one drink for women or two for men quickly erases any tiny potential benefit and sharply increases your risk of disease. Think of this habit less as an instruction to drink moderately and more as a strict warning to avoid drinking heavily. It's a call for honesty about how much you're really consuming. The safest bet for longevity is to drink very little or not at all. The fifth and final habit is the most straightforward and maybe the most powerful of them all: never smoking. There's no gray area here, no room for moderation. The single most impactful thing you can do for your health and longevity is to completely avoid tobacco. In all the decades of data the Harvard researchers looked at, smoking was a catastrophic risk factor for an early death. It's a systemic poison. Every puff of a cigarette unleashes thousands of chemicals into your bloodstream, which then travel to every single organ, causing damage at a cellular level. All right, let's wrap this up. The Harvard blueprint for adding up to 14 healthy, vibrant years to your life. It's both simple and profound. 1. A high-quality diet, full of whole foods. 2. Regular physical activity, just 30 minutes of moderate movement a day. 3. Maintaining a healthy body weight, which happens naturally from the first 2. 4. Limiting alcohol, or better yet, avoiding it. And 5. Never, ever smoking. This isn't a quick fix. It's about building a foundation of simple, sustainable habits that add up over time to create a remarkable difference in your health. It's about taking back control from a world of confusing headlines and rooting your choices in undeniable science. It's about choosing health span, not just lifespan. If you found this breakdown helpful and want more science-backed ways to improve your health, give this video a like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us cut through the noise and get this vital information to more people. Thanks for watching, and here's to adding more life to your years.